Okay, so picture this. You're enjoying some corn on the cob,
Okay.
and your dog is right there giving you the look.
Oh, yeah.
Those puppy dog eyes, like, can I
Yeah.
have some? So can they have some? Should they have some?
Right.
Is it good for them? Bad for them? We are diving deep into this
Oh,
today,
absolutely.
figuring out, can my dog eat corn?
That's right.
We've got some really great sources today from the American Kennel Club, Policy Advisor, and Pumpkin.
Excellent sources.
And, what's so funny is I was reading through all this stuff,
Yeah.
and turns out corn is in a lot of dog foods already.
Oh, it is. It's a very common ingredient. You'll find it in a lot of commercial dog foods.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And it makes sense when you start to learn about, all of the nutritional benefits that corn can offer.
Well, let's talk about those then.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of corn for dogs?
For sure. So, as I mentioned, we read the sources, and some of the big things that stick out are protein,
Okay.
carbohydrates,
Mm-hmm.
linoleic acid,
Oh, yeah.
antioxidants and fiber.
Really, fiber too.
Fiber as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff packed in there.
So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good, nutritional profile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there that seems like it would be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And, each of those plays kind of a crucial role in a dog's health. We can
Okay.
take protein, for example.
Yeah.
Protein's not just about building muscle, which I think is what most people think of.
Right.
It's also super essential for like repairing tissues,
Oh, okay.
So especially if you have a dog that's really active running around.
Yeah, they're going to need that protein to rebuild.
Exactly. All
Yeah.
those, zoomies in the park, they need that protein to recover.
So you're saying if my dog's not getting enough protein, those zoomies might?
They might slow down a little bit. They
Yeah.
might be a little bit more sluggish.
Okay, I got to up the protein then for those zoomies.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got protein. What about carbohydrates?
Yeah. So carbs, they sometimes get a bad rap, but they're actually the primary source of energy for dogs.
Okay. Interesting.
So all that running and jumping and tail wagging that your dog does,
Yeah.
it's fueled by carbohydrates. You can kind of think of it like carbs are like the gasoline that keeps your dog's engine running.
So carbs are okay as long as they're being used for energy.
Exactly, as long as they're being
If
used.
they're just laying around on the couch all day?
Maybe cut back on the carbs a little bit.
Got it. Okay, what about this linoleic acid?
Yeah, linoleic acid.
I've heard that's supposed to be good for their coat.
It is. It is. So this is an omega-6 fatty acid, and it's really important for maintaining like healthy skin and a shiny coat.
Okay.
It helps to keep the skin's barrier nice and strong so that, prevents dryness, it prevents irritation.
If your dog has like a dull coat, maybe they need more of that.
Exactly. Sometimes you see dogs that have that kind of dull, lackluster fur, and often it's because they're lacking some of those essential fatty acids.
Like a beauty supplement for dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about antioxidants? I know those are good for humans. How do they help dogs?
Yeah. Antioxidants are great for dogs, too. They're like these little superheroes that go around and fight off free radicals in the body.
Free radicals.
Free radicals, yeah. So these are unstable molecules that can cause damage to cells and kind of weaken the immune system.
Oh, wow.
And so antioxidants, basically, they come in and they neutralize them. And so that helps to protect your dog from diseases and just boost their overall health.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then last on our list of benefits here was fiber.
Yes. Fiber.
Why is that important for dogs?
So fiber is essential for, healthy digestion. It helps to regulate those bowel movements, keeps everything moving smoothly,
Yeah.
can help prevent constipation and diarrhea,
Okay.
and it also, contributes to that feeling of fullness. So for dogs that tend to overeat,
Yeah.
a little extra fiber can be really helpful.
Makes them feel fuller for longer, so
Exactly.
they're not, scarfing down everything in sight.
Exactly.
Okay, so corn really does have a lot to offer.
It does.
Nutritional. Before we all run out and start tossing ears of corn to our dogs, let's talk about the risks.
Yeah.
Because I know reading through these articles, they were pretty adamant about corn cobs.
Oh, absolutely. Corn cobs are a huge no-no for dogs.
Okay.
They're a major choking hazard. And, even if they do manage to swallow it, it can get lodged in their intestines and cause a blockage, which could require surgery.
And that's not something anybody wants to deal with.
Definitely not. It's just not worth the risk.
No, so corn cobs definitely off limits.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned earlier that corn itself can be a healthy part of a dog's diet when prepared correctly.
Right.
So what does that mean? How should we be preparing corn for our dogs if we want to give them some?
Yeah. So the first and most important thing is, never give your dog corn on the cob.
Got it.
Always remove the kernels first.
Okay.
And while dogs can digest corn, It's easier for them to process when it's cooked.
Okay.
So cooked corn is going to be less likely to cause any digestive upset.
So cook kernels off the cob. That's the way to go.
That's the safest bet, yeah.
Are there any other ways to prepare corn for dogs, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I mean, some people will grind the kernels into like a meal,
Okay.
and they can add that to their dog's regular food.
Interesting.
You can also freeze corn kernels,
Okay.
which can be a nice soothing treat for teething puppies.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, what about popcorn?
Ah, popcorn.
And a lot of people I know, they love to share popcorn with their dogs. Is that safe?
It can be, yeah. Plain air-popped popcorn with no butter or salt can be a fun occasional treat for dogs.
Okay.
Just make sure you avoid the flavored popcorns.
Yeah.
The microwave popcorns, because those often have a lot of additives that are not good for dogs.
Okay, that makes sense. I actually have a question about that.
Yeah.
So for the plain air popped, we're talking like no butter, no salt,
Exactly.
no seasonings,
None of that.
just plain
What?
kernels popped?
Why can't dogs have the butter and the salt and all that stuff? Yeah, so those things can actually be harmful to dogs. They can lead to digestive issues,
Okay.
weight gain,
Mm-hmm.
and, in some cases, even more serious health problems. So it's best to err on the side of caution and just keep it plain and simple.
Keep it healthy.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, well, this has been really informative. I mean, corn can be a healthy snack for dogs.
It can.
But I think before we wrap up, we need to talk about portion control.
Yes, absolutely.
Because even good things can be bad in excess.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
And I know the sources mentioned something about the 10% rule.
Right. So the 10% rule is basically a guideline that says treats, including corn, should make up less than 10% of your dog's daily calorie intake.
So 90% of their diet should be their regular dog food.
Yeah, their balanced, complete diet.
And then 10% or less can be treats like corn
Right.
to make sure they're getting all the nutrients they need and they're not getting too many calories from treats.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
Balance. I like it. All right, so corn in moderation is the key takeaway here. Are there any other things that dog owners should keep in mind when it comes to feeding corn to their dogs?
I would say it's always a good idea to introduce new foods gradually.
Okay.
Start with a small amount and see how your dog does. Monitor for any reactions, because some dogs can have corn allergies.
Really?
It's not as common as like wheat allergies,
Okay.
but it can happen.
So what are some signs of a corn allergy in dogs that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so things like vomiting, diarrhea, itching, skin irritation,
Okay.
those are all signs that, your dog might not be tolerating corn very well.
So if you see any of that, stop feeding the corn.
Exactly, and consult with your vet.
Always a good idea
Yes.
to talk to the vet when you're not sure.
Always.
All right, well, I think this has been a really great deep dive into the world of corn for dogs.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Me too. I had no idea. It was actually so, good for them, potentially.
Yeah, it can be.
As long as it's prepared correctly and given in moderation. So the takeaway here is that corn can be a healthy and enjoyable treat
Yes,
for our furry friends as long as we follow the guidelines.
absolutely.
I do have one final question for you, though.
Okay.
This is something that came to mind as I was reading through all this and thinking about, how common corn is in dog food.
Yeah.
Do you think there could be a connection between all the corn that dogs are eating in their dog food and the rise in canine allergies?
That's a really interesting question, and I don't know if we have enough information to definitively answer that,
Right.
but it's definitely something to think about.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Could all this corn that we're feeding them in their dog food be contributing to more allergies?
It's possible. There's a lot of research being done on the link between diet and allergies in dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's certainly something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great note to end on.
I agree.
So much to think about when it comes to our dogs' diets.
Yeah, it's a complex topic.
But that's why we do these deep dives, so we can learn together.
Exactly.
So keep those questions coming,
Yes.
and don't be afraid to do your research.
Always keep learning.
Until next time.
See ya. Bye.